Hello lovely learners, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm outside because it's a gorgeous day and I'm between classes, so I thought I'd record this week's video while I'm out here. And that is because we are doing another talking video. Hopefully y'all like these. I don't really know, but as I'm doing more theater stuff and more stuff for school, I'm just kind of trying to figure out what content I want to make. So this week we're going to be talking about Tech Week, which is a theater thing that I'm going to explain right now. So Tech Week is short for Technical Week. If you've never done theater before, or if you're kind of new to theater, you rehearse for weeks and weeks, and then the last week of rehearsal right before the show starts is called Tech Week. So we're just going to talk about kind of all the elements and the stuff that goes into this. So starting off, the first thing you should know is that almost all the time you don't rehearse in the same space that you're going to be doing the show in. Like not on the stage or in the auditorium or wherever, you won't be there where you're going to actually be doing the show. And that is because sometimes if you're renting the space, it may only be available the days you rented for the show and for dress rehearsal for Tech Week. Or if it's like too expensive and you can't afford to rent it for all of the rehearsals, or they may be building the sets or painting the stage or the sets, sorry, someone's going by on a skateboard and I got distracted. They may also be setting up the lights in the space, which that can be dangerous. It's not dangerous, but if there's an actor standing in the way, that can be a problem. So the first day that you get into the space at the beginning of Tech Week usually is going to be completely making sure the sets are going where they're supposed to be going. You do what is called like a marked run. So you'll be like, okay, go to the top of this scene. Where are you standing? Where do you move to throughout the scene, so they can make sure the sets are in the right place and move how they need to, that you're standing in your lighting, because if there's supposed to be a spotlight on you but you're 3 feet to the right of it and they didn't have that in their plan, they need to adjust that and know that either you need to move or they need to move the light and know that, oh, when she is saying this line, the spotlight needs to be here. Because if you're out of your light, it can look really weird when you're doing a show. And that's just making sure so that rehearsal is usually very long, because you're not really getting to run the show. And by run, I mean go through the show and do the whole thing. Because it's just making sure all the technical elements are working, which is super important. It just can be kind of boring sometimes for the actors, but and those tend to be longer rehearsals in general. So then, depending on what you're doing, you may have 1, 2, 3, 4. It really depends on what your director decides and how it's working out. Dress rehearsals, or you may do one rehearsal that's just regular in the space and then do 2 dress rehearsals or something like that. Where you are in full costume, makeup, hair, anything, exactly how you would look and act in the show, that's what you're doing in this run. And in a dress rehearsal, there is no stopping unless there's something majorly wrong. Like if there's a lift that cannot be done because they're gonna fall or the wires didn't get on right or something like that, you would stop there. Or if something's majorly messed up that you weren't prepared for in the space, it's like, oh, I was supposed to do this, but that doesn't really work now that we're here, that may get changed. That should be mostly worked out during that first tech run, but if it's not, then it would be done there. But pretty much, unless something major happens, dress rehearsals go straight through. There are a couple guests watching dress rehearsals, depending on if there's an important person that can't make it to the show. They may be allowed to sit in. It's called an invited dress rehearsal, or it's kind of depending on the company or that you're doing it with or something like that. It can be kind of an exclusive preview thing you get to do. I actually got to see when I was in high school. I got to go see a dress rehearsal of an opera. Which was very cool, because they were letting schools come the night before, kind of thing. So that is something that may happen. So you should be prepared at dress rehearsals to have a little bit of an audience, which is good to get a taste of it if you haven't had people watching you, getting used to performing in front of people. Okay, I keep thinking there's someone behind me and it's just a squirrel, y'all. I don't know if you can see him. The leaves kind of hide him. Anyway. So a couple other things about theater and tech in general. The first night of your show is called opening, the last night is called closing, and while the show is going on, that's called the run of the show. So the run of my show is 2 days. For example, we're doing 2 shows, 2 nights. First night's opening, second night's closing. Sometimes that's how it goes. Or if you're running 7 shows in the span of 2 weeks, that's your run. When you are wishing someone good luck with their show, with their performance, never, ever, ever say good luck. That's bad luck in theater. You say break a leg. That the history of that I kind of know, but I don't know it very well, so I will research that and add it in later, I guess, because I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. The second thing is, when you're in a theater, never, ever, ever, ever say Macbeth. That is the Scottish play, is how you may refer to it when you're in a theater. If you say it in a theater, bad things happen. Again, the history of this is complex, but theaters where this was done or said burned down, people died, yada yada. Theater folk are superstitious, okay? So don't ever say the name of the Scottish play when you're in a theater or rehearsing or any of that, because it could be very bad. And there is a way to reverse it, but it gets complicated, and just don't say it. Tech Week can be very, very stressful. It's so much fun because you've really gelled as a cast at that point, and you're all exhausted and just ready to get to the show at this point together. And so it's really great bonding for the cast. But it's a long week. It's a lot going on, particularly if you are a professional actor who has another job. Or if you're a student who is doing school all day and then having tech at night. Tech rehearsals do sometimes run longer and run over because there's more going on. And so the most important things to remember are to drink lots of water, stay hydrated, partially for health, and also because you need to be able to act. You need to not be parched when you're trying to talk or sing or whatever on stage. Make sure you're eating healthy food, getting the right calories and types of food, because if you're just eating junk food, you're not going to have energy to do the show. And make sure you're sleeping. Sleep is so important. I really need to listen to myself about this. You have got to get good sleep, because again, you will not have the energy or the ability to give everything that you need to the show if you're exhausted. And it is exhausting. It's a lot of stuff going on all at once, and it's hard. But it is so worth it once you get on that stage and there's an audience. There's this thing that usually happens 1 or 2 days where there's kind of a dip in energy, and you don't want the dip in energy, but it's like if your last run isn't fabulous, that just means you haven't hit the peak yet, and that means you have nowhere to go but up, and you want to hit the peak at that first performance, and you want to keep that. I mean, you want to keep that high energy, whatever, through all your performances. But hitting that right there is really amazing. So yeah, just making sure to stay healthy, keep up the energy, and stay bonded with your cast, because also if you don't have chemistry on stage, that's going to be not as fun for the audience to watch. So yeah, that's kind of my little what Tech Week is, some kind of tips about what to do during Tech Week. Make sure to breathe, take a nap if you can, meditate, something like that. Bring snacks to rehearsal, very important. You'll get hungry, I promise. And yeah, well, I hope if you're not in theater you found this interesting, and if you are, then break a leg with your next performance. I'll see y'all next week. Bye.